How do you make one of the greatest games of all time even better? I know that's a bold claim, but let's reflect a little bit. Even back in 2011 when Burgundy first came out, it felt kind of flimsy and aesthetically pretty dated. But in spite of all that, it became one of the most celebrated Euros of all time. Refined, smooth, complex, but still intuitive. Great at 2 players, but just as good at 3 and 4. So how do you make it better? Well, you don't mess with what works, and then you try to take the weakest points and make them just as good as its strengths. This new edition of the Castles of Burgundy is a consolidation of some of the expansion material that has come out since Burgundy's original release, but virtually is identical to the original game except for overhauls in the graphical design, the user interface, and component quality. You know, the sources of the game's biggest criticisms. But if you're looking for a review of the Castles of Burgundy, here's my review. It rules. It is easily one of the most recommendable games that has ever existed. But that's not why we're here today. Today, we're taking a look at this new edition and see how it rates in making Burgundy even better. As I said earlier, everything different about this new edition can really be broken down between the Consolidation of Content and the Cosmetic, so we'll tackle these one at a time. The Castles of Burgundy has had a lot of little mini expansions over the years. While I've loved the game for about as long, the only one I've personally picked up and played was the salaciously named Lust Gardens, so most of this was new to me. The expansions include new hex tiles, including the bridge, workers, crane, and geese, a sort of wild livestock, new duchies that score bonus points for connecting points on the map, inns, which are wild tiles that have no inherent effect but can fill out an area, and the white castles, which are a much less exciting version of the Lust Gardens. I mean, they are virtually the exact same thing. You play them and then you get a free action based off of the pips on the white dice, but you don't get to call them Lust Gardens, which is half the fun in the first place. Most of these expansions are inconsequential, more Burgundy without really adding much dimension to the game, but there are 4 that make a more substantial shift in your Burgunding. The trade routes and shields are additives that expand the strategic considerations of the game. The former adds a path which you mark with your sold goods one at a time, and if the color of a good matches up with the space, you get the bonus shown on that spot. The shields are placed in the 6 depots on the board, and if a player rolls doubles instead of taking their normal turn, they could take the shield from the corresponding depot, getting a powerful and persistent bonus like considering all fields adjacent or doubling the payout from mines, but shields also cost money to keep in play. The most game-altering expansions are the boards for the team game and solo mode. I'm going to be honest, the team game just seems like so much. I mean, it's fine, it's there if you want it, but nothing about playing a Euro on a team feels exciting to me in any way whatsoever, so I haven't played it. I have no interest in playing it, and I barely even play 4-player Castles of Burgundy in the first place. But the solo mode? Mwah, so good. Solo has its own unique river board, where you must use ship tiles to connect your initial island to others in your fiefdom. The 2 most intriguing changes are that when you reach a certain threshold of points, you get a free wild action, essentially a dice of any number to use immediately, and then that threshold decreases again and again, giving a really nice sense of acceleration and incentivizing points. And then instead of getting point rewards for completing a color, you get a free black tile. Both of these changes add tension as you decide how to complete your kingdom, and winning the solo game is either you fill out all of the hex spaces in your kingdom or you don't. It's snappy, smart, and preserves the best elements of the multiplayer game, but makes for a really excellent puzzle. This has shot up the list to become one of my favorite solo games. From a production standpoint, the game has been sizably revamped. The game board is vibrant where the former was drab, latching onto a theme where the depots represent different districts of a city instead of, well, abstract boxes. And the player boards have lush colors, the building tile artwork is more distinct, and the tokens are notably chunkier without being overwrought, balancing modest elegance and dutiful heft. Alright, so where does this leave us? Are there actually any downsides to this new edition of the Burg? And while I don't know that there are downsides, I definitely can come up with criticisms if I had to. And mostly they'd come down to either cosmetic or preference in nature. The new central boards, while vibrant, to make it look more thematic, it also came across as a bit more busy. The new player boards also sacrifice reference information for a sleeker design, so you lose a bit of functionality. And the color scheme, while bold, evokes either a heavily tomatoed salad or a Christmas decoration, depending on how you view it. And considering they're all the rage, especially with new editions of older games, I was surprised to find that this new edition does not come with an insert, even though the original Burgundy did. But even if some of those cosmetic changes and some of the chaff irks you, what you get in this new edition is so much more. There's some really legitimate improvements on the component quality. There's a ton of extra content in here to give you more options to play the game in new and different ways. This game remains one of my absolute favorite games of all time, and this new edition delightfully makes it that much easier to recommend. And that's our review. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald. If you enjoyed this video, we have all kinds of other reviews, interviews, and recommendations via writing, podcast, and video here on our channel and website cardboardherald.com. Our content is audience supported, so if you want to show your support, please visit our Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Cardboard Herald.